Is it difficult for you to pronounce the R sound clearly? If it is, do not skip this video. I'm going to teach you how native English speakers pronounce the R sound, and we're going to practice with tongue twisters, practicing the R sound in different places in common English words. By the end of this video, you will be much more confident about how to say the R sound clearly. If you have any questions as we go, leave those in the comments. If you enjoy the video, give it a like and make sure to subscribe. And now let's get into it. The R sound is difficult for many English learners, but also different depending on the English accent, the native English accent. For example, Americans say the R sound one way, and people from England say it the same way, but also another way. It's a little bit more complex. And so there's a lot to explore here, and we're going to look at some specific examples. I want to lay a foundation first, and then we will get into 3 tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are things you can do to practice sounds. So at the end, we're going to look at tongue twisters which have the R sound at the beginning, tongue twister with a tongue twister which has the R sound in the middle, and a tongue twister which has the R sound at the end. So make sure to stick around for all of those, because it really is a matter of practice to get those sounds down, to say them accurately. And I would say it's not that hard, except I know it can be. I know it can be, right? Okay, so first, let us set a bit of a foundation here. What I want you to do is listen carefully to the R sounds in this video. This is Bobby Lee, and the other guy is a Singaporean comedian, stand-up comedian. He's quite famous. He was in Shang-Chi. He's famous. And his name is Ronnie Chung. I think it's Chung or Chung. I can't remember. He's from Malaysia, and you'll hear that his accent is more like his accent, specifically of the pronunciation of the R sound, is more like the British R. But we have to talk about it, so let's watch this. It's very short.
When I say car, what do you hear?
Car.
Cartoon.
Yeah, that's no. You say cartoon.
Yeah.
There's no R when you say it.
And it
Are you one of those Asians that can't say the R?
What do you hear?
So he says, are you one of those Asians that can't say the R? But actually, it's more like he's just using close to, he has a bit of that Singaporean English sound, Singlish, they call it, but it's more like British English. Let's listen to that again.
Car.
So what he hears when Ronnie says car,
Say car, what do you hear?
car, so at the end of the word, you can hear there that it's an open sound, ka, ah, almost like there isn't an R there. It's very open. And that's what Bobby hears, right?
I say car, what do you hear?
Car.
But how would Bobby Lee say it? Bobby Lee is an American. How would he pronounce that? He would pronounce that as car. 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 Okay, so there's a difference in the R sound, but does that mean it's always different? No, not exactly. It's more complicated.
Cartoon.
Okay, now there he says same beginning sound, car, right? But he adds another piece. Cartoon.
Cartoon.
Yeah, that's no. You say cartoon.
Yeah.
There's no R when you say it.
So Bobby Lee would say cartoon, and Ronnie is saying cartoon. Cartoon. Ka-toon. And Bobby would say car-toon. That's the American pronunciation of the R, and then either the Singaporean or the British pronunciation of the R, ka. But again, is it always that way? Listen.
And it should
Are
be-
you one of
what
those
should-
Asians who can't say the R?
I think I can say the R. My name is Ronnie. I should.
Okay. My name is Ronnie. And he does then say So, what's going on here? When he says C-A-R, it's ka. And so the ending of the word has the R, and it's that open sound. Singaporean or British pronunciation would be ah. Americans would say R, car, ka. Now, if it's in the middle of the word, he uses the word cartoon. Americans would say car, same tune, cartoon. And Ronnie would says cartoon, cartoon. Okay, so there again is that same difference. But his name is Ronnie, and when he says his name, it is Ronnie with the sound. Now, how would Bobby Lee, the American, say it? Ronnie, the same. Oh, okay. So sometimes the R sound for American English, British English, Singaporean English, whatever, sometimes the R sound is the same and sometimes it's different. That's it. That's all you need to know, really. But we need to know a little bit more about position. So for the American R, the simple thing, the nice thing about it, is that it's the same pretty much all the time. If it's at the beginning of a word, it's Ronnie. If it's in the middle of the word, it's You curl the tongue back, and it's this strong R pronunciation. Ronnie, but also cartoon. In the middle of the word, it's the same. If it's at the end of the word, it is also the same. So, car, Ronnie, cartoon, car. So that's pretty simple, right? Easy. Now, for the British pronunciation, it is slightly different. The R sound at the beginning of the word, and then sometimes in the middle, is the same. But if the R sound is in front of a consonant, or if it's at the end of the word, then it's going to be that more open sound, cartoon. So again, if it's at the end of the word, or if the R sound is in front of a consonant, like T, for example, here, it is more likely to be that more open sound. Okay? If it's at the beginning, then it will be the same as the American R. Okay? So let's practice this. I said we're going to do some tongue twisters. Let's practice some tongue twisters to get a feeling for the R pronunciation. And we're going to start with a tongue twister that has R at the beginning. Ready? Rory's rural ruler rarely rests. Again, say it after me. Say the whole thing. Rory's rural ruler rarely rests. Okay? Now let's try the second one, the second line here. Rugged ranges rise, rapidly retreating. Rugged ranges rise, rapidly retreating. Okay, now that's something to practice. So you can just put words together that start with R if that's what you struggle with, and practice those until it feels natural. Now let's try in the middle of the word. Berries, barriers, barely berry, rare berries. Berries, barriers, barely berry, rare berries. Now the next one. Ferrymen, ferry, furry, ferrets to fiery forests. And again, ferrymen, fairy furry furrets to fiery forests. Okay, now let's try at the end. And of course, this is American English pronunciation. I'm an American, so I'm teaching you how Americans say it. If you want to practice British pronunciation, okay, that's fine too. But don't learn it from me. Okay, now let's do at the end. Here we go. I'll read the whole thing, then you repeat after me. Stir the flour to power the shower. Stir the flour to power the shower. Next one. Fear the spear near the rear gear. And again. Fear the spear near the rear gear. Okay. So, how was it? How is it? Is it challenging to say the R sound at different places in the word? Or do you say it a little bit differently than I say it? Do you say it more like the British English pronunciation? That's okay if you do. That's okay. The important thing is to be able to hear the difference and make sure you can say the R sound how you want to say it so that it sounds pretty natural. Again, you do not have to pronounce it like an American. I'm not telling you that. But you need to be able to hear those differences, and you need to, if you struggle with the R sound, practice examples until you can get it right, until it is a habit. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and also get a free course in the links in the description.